Hello friends, welcome to the video for chapter 4.2. I think I'm only doing one video, so this might be a little bit long. All right. Okay, so our work for today is going to be, we're going to do numbers 1 through 24 all together. Okay, and then 37 to 65, of course, every other odd. All right. Now, if you go to your book, there is page 157, and they outline two methods. Here's method 1, here's method 2 for how to graph sine and cosine functions, generic sine and cosine functions. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to just go with method 2 because I think it's much cleaner than method 1. All right. So all that said is a generic equation looks something like this. Y equals C plus A sine, and then they use these huge parentheses because it's going to be parentheses within parentheses, x minus d, and these hard ones are called brackets. Okay. Just to note, this is like the y, sort of like the y-intercept for y equals mx plus b, and this a and the b kind of combine and act like the slope a little bit. Okay, so just to know that. Let me see. So let me tell you the different parts of this, which the book does not really tell you. Okay, this handles the vertical shift. Okay, and this A is for the amplitude. Sometimes the amplitude can be negative, which would then just kind of flip the function vertically. So it'll flip the function upside down. Okay, and of course sine is your function. B is not the period. Okay, the period is equal to 2 pi over that letter B. Okay, and then this little d here is going to be our horizontal shift. Okay, and I like showing this to students because it kind of captures everything about the function in one equation, which is way cleaner. All right, so let's do an example with this, okay? I'm going to give myself a problem, which is sort of like number 45, but I'm going to make it a little more complex, okay? So I'm going to call this number 45 with a little plus right there, okay? We are going to graph y equals 10 minus 4 sine of 2x minus pi. All right. So does this look like this? Not quite. Here I have my 2 right next to the pi, and then I have that d, and I only have one argument. All right. So here I have this b is factored out of x minus d. So I'm going to do that right before your eyes right now. Okay, we'll get it into that form. So y equals 10 minus 4. Now I'm going to explain this by showing you the answer first and then telling you how I got it. All right, I'm going to factor out my 2 and do it like that. Okay, so if you just know your distributive property, 2 times the x here will give you the 2x, and this 2 times negative pi over 2 will give you the pi. All right, so these two equations are exactly the same. Now I can use this whole format to really take apart how this works. All right, method 2 on page 157 reads like this. It says step 1, graph y equals a sine b, or cosine equals, or y equals a cosine b, x, The amplitude of the function is absolute value of a, and the period is 2 pi over b, okay? So in simpler terms, this is what we're going to do first. So step 1, okay, is we're going to graph y equals -4 sine 2x. Okay, so we're going to start with something simpler, and then we're going to grow that outward. Okay. And all right, so let's do that, which hopefully you've done in 4.1 already. The graph of this, okay, I'll do it in red, has an amplitude of -4. So its highest point goes all the way up to +4, lowest point goes to -4, and it's negative, so it's going to flip our sine wave into starting at 0 and then going downward instead of its usual upward. Okay, now our period is equal to 2 pi over 2. So our period is just pi. So what that means is I can complete a whole cycle by the time I get to pi. All right, so I'll put that pi right there. All right, and the only thing left to do is sketch it all out. I know that in the middle, I'll get back to 0. That's pi over 2. All right, and I know that at the tops and the bottoms, I'll hit +4, -4. Okay, so I'm actually going to build. Do I want to do that? Nah. Sine normally goes upward, but it's going to go downward to here and there because of my -4. So I'm going to go down, back up, back down. Okay, so that takes care of our period being pi. I have this point, I might as well label this point too. That happens at pi over 4 and then hits at -4. I've taken care of my -4 for the amplitude by going down first and then back up. All right, I'm going to pause right there.